Hey everyone, and welcome to the Deep Dive. We're going to be focusing on something a little different today.
Yeah, it should be fun.
We're going to be learning 10 new words that are going to help you sound more confident at work when you're speaking English.
That's right. And we know that learning a new language takes time.
It does.
So we're going to be speaking slowly and clearly and using simple English.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you ready to learn some powerful vocabulary?
Let's do it.
All right, let's get started. Our first word is authorize.
Okay.
And so imagine your manager saying, I authorize this purchase. They're not just saying yes or agreeing to something.
Right.
They're giving official permission.
Yeah. Authorize isn't just about saying yes. It's about having the power and responsibility to make decisions and take action.
Okay.
In a company, it's really important to know who has the authority to do what.
Exactly.
And so this helps things run smoothly and keeps everyone on the same page.
That makes sense.
Okay.
So it's like having a key that unlocks certain actions.
Yes.
Without that key, nothing happens.
That's a great way to put it.
All right, so let's move on to comply.
Okay.
This one we hear a lot with rules, right? Like employees must comply with safety regulations.
Yeah. Comply basically means to follow the rules.
Okay.
You know, think of it like a game. Everyone needs to follow the rules for the game to work, right?
Yep.
So in a workplace, the rules are there to keep everyone safe and to make sure things run smoothly.
So it sounds like comply is all about teamwork.
Yes.
Everyone's doing their part by following the rules.
Exactly.
What happens if someone doesn't comply with the rules?
Well, just like in a game, there are consequences
Right.
for not following the rules. So in a workplace, it could be a warning, it could be a fine,
I don't know.
or even losing your job.
Yeah.
It really depends on how serious the situation is.
So comply is a very important word to remember.
Yes.
Especially at work, it means follow the rules. To keep everything running smoothly, our next word is dedicate.
Okay.
When you dedicate your time to something, you're giving it your full attention and effort, like saying, I'm going to dedicate my time to learning English.
That's a great example. Think of it like planting a seed. You need to dedicate time and care to help it grow.
Yeah.
So dedicate in a professional context means putting in the extra effort, going the extra mile, and really committing to your goals.
So it's like a promise you make to yourself.
Yes.
Or to others to give something your full attention and effort.
Exactly.
It's about being committed.
Let's dive into optimize.
Okay.
I always think of this word when I hear about websites, like we need to optimize our website to make it faster.
Yeah, that's a perfect example.
Yeah.
So imagine a car. To optimize its performance, you would make sure the engine runs smoothly, the tires are inflated properly, and everything works together efficiently.
Okay.
So optimize means finding ways to improve something and to make it work at its best.
Yeah.
So it's not about working harder. It's about working smarter.
Exactly.
It's about finding the best way to do something so that it's efficient and effective.
Right.
Makes sense.
Right.
All right. Our next word is restructure.
Okay.
It sounds a little complicated, but it's really not.
No, it's not. Think of restructure like this. You're taking a puzzle apart, and then you're putting it back together in a new way. You're not getting rid of any pieces. You're just rearranging them to make a better picture.
Okay.
So companies might restructure departments to improve how they work.
Yeah.
You can even restructure your daily schedule to be more productive.
Okay, so restructure just means to reorganize something.
Yes.
It's about finding a better way to arrange things
Right.
to get better results.
Right.
Now, let's talk about substantiate.
Okay.
This word sounds a bit formal, but is really useful,
It is.
especially in professional settings.
Yeah, imagine you're baking a cake.
Okay.
You wouldn't just say, this is a delicious cake.
Right.
You would point to the ingredients, the recipe you followed, the effort that you put in.
Yeah.
Substantiate is kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's about providing evidence and proof to support your claims.
So it's like showing your work,
Yes.
not just giving the answer.
Exactly.
It's about backing up your statements with facts and data that makes a lot of sense. Our next word is consolidate, which I often hear in the context of money, like consolidating debt.
Yeah, consolidate can be about bringing things together to make them stronger.
Okay.
Imagine you have several small boxes of toys, and you put them all into one big box.
Okay.
That's consolidating.
Got it.
So companies might consolidate departments,
Yeah.
or you might consolidate notes from different meetings into one document.
So consolidate is about combining and organizing things to make them more efficient.
Right.
Like tidying up and making things simpler. Our next word is negligible,
Okay.
which sounds a bit negative,
Yeah.
but it's simply about size.
It is Think of a tiny speck of dust. On a giant painting, it's there, but it's so small that it doesn't really affect the overall picture.
Yeah.
Negligible means that something is so insignificant that it's not worth worrying about.
So negligible means something is very small and doesn't make much of a difference.
Right.
It's like a drop of water in the ocean. We've covered 8 powerful words so far. Authorize, comply, dedicate, optimize, restructure, substantiate, consolidate, and negligible.
Those are great words.
And remember, we're speaking slowly and using simple English.
Yeah.
Because we want you to feel confident learning these new words.
Exactly. And we'll be right back after a quick break.
If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to like the video. Share it with friends who might find it helpful. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next video. Let us know in the comments what topic you'd like to hear.
We'll continue learning even more great words you can use to improve your English at work.
We'll see you in a bit.
See you soon.
It's been great exploring these words with you. Learning new words is like adding tools to your toolbox. The more tools you have, the more you can do.
That's a great way to think about it. And we have 2 more words to add to our toolbox today. Prioritize and rectify. Prioritize helps us decide what's most important, especially when we have a lot on our plate.
Exactly. Think of it like packing a suitcase.
Okay.
You wouldn't put everything in at once.
Right.
You would prioritize by packing the most important items first, like your passport and your toothbrush.
Okay.
Then you'd move on to less essential things.
So prioritize is like creating a roadmap for your day or your week, making sure you tackle the most important tasks first. Our final word, rectify, is all about fixing things.
Everyone makes mistakes, but it's how we handle those mistakes that matters. Rectify means taking responsibility and doing what's needed to make things right.
So if you accidentally send the wrong email, you could rectify the situation by sending a follow-up email with the correct information and an apology.
Precisely, it's about owning up to mistakes and taking steps to fix them. Now, let's step back and think about how these 10 words can help you in professional settings.
They're like secret codes that unlock clear and confident communication at work. Using these words correctly can make a big difference in how people perceive you.
It shows that you're paying attention to detail, that you're capable of handling responsibility, and that you're committed to effective communication.
Remember, learning new words takes time and practice. Don't feel overwhelmed if you don't master them all at once. Just pick 1 or 2 words each day and try using them in sentences or conversations.
You can even write them down on sticky notes and place them around your home or office every time you see a word. Try using it in a sentence. That's a fun way to reinforce your learning.
We've talked a lot about individual words, but communication is more than just knowing the right vocabulary. It's also about how you put those words together.
That's where grammar comes in. It's the glue that holds sentences together and helps us communicate our ideas clearly and effectively.
Learning grammar can feel a bit daunting, but it doesn't have to be. Just like with vocabulary, start with the basics and build from there.
Think of it like building a house. You start with a strong foundation, and then you add the walls, the roof, and all the details that make it a home. Grammar is the foundation of language. Once you have a solid understanding of the basics, you can start building more complex and nuanced sentences.
And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes when they're learning something new. The important thing is to learn from those mistakes and keep practicing.
Exactly. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become. And remember, there are so many resources available to help you learn English.
There are websites, apps, books, and even podcasts like this one. And of course, you can always practice speaking with a friend, a colleague, or a language partner.
Speaking of practice, let's try using some of the words we've learned today in a simple conversation.
That's a great idea. Imagine you're at work and your manager asks you to complete a task. How would you respond using some of the new words we've learned?
You could say something like, I understand that you've authorized me to complete this task. I will dedicate my time and effort to making sure it's done efficiently and effectively.
That's perfect. You've used authorize and dedicate correctly, and you've also shown that you understand the importance of completing the task well.
Now imagine you encounter a problem while completing the task. You could say, I've encountered a minor obstacle, but I'm confident I can rectify the situation quickly.
Excellent. You've used rectify correctly, and you've also shown that you're proactive and solution-oriented.
Learning a new language is like going on an adventure. There will be challenges along the way, but with practice and perseverance, you can achieve your goals.
Remember, our goal is to help you feel more confident speaking English, especially at work. So take these words, practice using them, and watch your confidence grow.
We've covered 10 powerful vocabulary words in this deep dive, but the journey doesn't end here. There's a whole world of words out there waiting to be discovered.
And the best part is, the more words you learn, the more you'll be able to express yourself, connect with others, and achieve your goals.
So keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep into the world of language.
We'll be back after a short break to continue our exploration of professional English vocabulary. Stay tuned.
If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to like the video. Share it with friends who might find it helpful. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next video. Let us know in the comments what topic you'd like to hear.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we?
We have. It's been great.
We talked about words related to authority, like authorize,
Yeah.
which means to give permission, and comply, which means to follow the rules.
Right.
These are really essential for understanding, how things work in a professional environment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We've also explored words that highlight commitment and effort, like dedicate, which means to give your full attention to something.
Yes.
And optimize, which means to find the best way to do something.
Right.
These words, they demonstrate your willingness to go the extra mile.
Exactly.
Right. We've also touched upon words that are crucial for clear communication, like articulate, which means to express yourself clearly, and concise, which means to be brief and to the point.
Right.
And let's not forget about the importance of being persuasive, which means to convince others, and diplomatic, which means to handle difficult situations with grace.
Those are important ones.
These skills can help you build strong relationships and navigate challenging conversations.
Absolutely.
Now remember, building a strong vocabulary takes time and practice.
It does.
It's like learning to play a musical instrument you wouldn't expect to become a virtuoso overnight.
That's a great analogy.
Right, just like with music. Learning a language requires patience, persistence, and a love for the process.
Yes. And just like a musician practices scales and chords, you can practice using these new words in everyday conversations, emails, and even in your thoughts.
Yeah, the more you use them, the more comfortable and confident you'll become. And remember, making mistakes is part of the learning process. Don't be afraid to experiment and try new things.
Absolutely. Embrace those mistakes as opportunities to learn and grow.
So true. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about something that's closely related to vocabulary.
Okay.
Pronunciation.
Yes.
Pronunciation is how we say words. It's important to pronounce words correctly so that others can understand us.
Think of it like a map.
Okay.
If you pronounce a word incorrectly, you might end up in the wrong place. Clear pronunciation helps guide your listeners to the right destination, which is understanding your message.
That's a good point. There are many different accents and dialects in English, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
The goal is to be clear and understandable regardless of your accent.
Exactly. And just like with vocabulary and grammar practice is key to improving your pronunciation.
Yeah.
You can listen to native speakers record yourself speaking and even practice with a language partner.
Now let's talk about something that can be a bit tricky for English learners. Idioms.
Yeah. Idioms are phrases that have a figurative meaning that's different from the literal meaning of the words.
Right.
For example, kick the bucket.
Okay.
Doesn't actually mean to kick a bucket.
Yeah.
It means to die.
Yeah.
So idioms can be confusing at first, but they add color and richness to the language.
Yeah.
And once you learn their meanings, you can use them to sound more natural and fluent.
One way to learn idioms is to pay attention to how they're used in movies, TV shows, and conversations.
Right.
You can also find lists of common idioms online or in dictionaries.
That's true. And remember, it's okay to ask if you don't understand. An idiom, native speakers are usually happy to explain their meaning.
Absolutely. Now let's wrap up our deep dive with some final thoughts on the importance of continuous learning. Learning a language is not a one-time event.
Right.
It's an ongoing journey.
It is.
The world of language is vast and ever-evolving. There's always something new to learn and discover.
So keep learning, keep exploring, and never stop learning.
That's a fantastic note to end on. We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into the world of professional English vocabulary and beyond.
We had a great time.
And remember, even small steps can lead to big progress.